Okay guys, so this video is intended to keep for the next, week or two. This is going to help guide you as you go through your homework, and I will be checking in with you to make sure you are doing your homework. Daily practice is the only way you will get better. So I'm going to take one problem from each section, and I'm going to work it out, and that should hopefully help you with the rest of the problems in the section. And I'm not going to pick number one. That's always too easy. Let's pick something down in the middle of everything. Like I'm going to take number, let's say, how about number 8? That looks pretty tricky. Okay, so for a solving problem, the idea is to get the variables on one side and to get the numbers, the other numbers, on the other side. So for something like this, let me shrink this down so I can work. Okay, I'm going to come over here, 19 minus 7m equals negative 8, parentheses, 4m minus 6 minus 4. Okay, no matter what the problem is they give you, usually distributing is going to be your first step. So I'm just going to kind of recopy this side because I'm not doing anything yet, and then I'm going to distribute. Now remember your signs and your negatives. Negative 8 times a 4m, that's going to be a negative 32m, and then you're doing negative 8 times a negative 6, which is actually a positive 48. The minute that you distribute, you do not write the parentheses anymore, and then you bring down any other terms that are there. So it should look something like that. Now, before I start moving stuff across the equals, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look and put together any like terms. Now, a like term just means if they have the same variable that has the same exponent on it, you get to combine them. So this is a 32m. There's no other m back here, but I have a normal number and a normal number. So guess what? I'm just going to put the normal numbers together. So 48 minus 4, right there. All right. Now let's work on variables one side and numbers on the other. So most of you are used to getting the variable over here, so I'm going to do that. You're also used to moving the constants away first. So like this 19 you might recognize is a problem. So I'm going to move it to the other side by doing the opposite of what I see. Now, it was a positive 19, so I'm doing minus 19. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Notice I placed the 19 under the 44. Now, why did I do that? Well, it does not have an M on it. If it had an M, I would have written it under this fella instead. And for some of you, if you're weak at this, it might help to also draw a line down the middle of the equal sign so that you remember whatever you do here, you better be writing one of them on the other side as well. Okay, now I just math it out. 19 minus 19 is 0, and then I'm going to bring this down. Notice when I bring it down, I kept the minus on it, okay? There's still an equals there. And then this side, I'm going to bring down the negative 32m. And then what is 44 minus 19? Well, I think that's going to be a 25. I'm feeling pretty good about that, actually. And now we're almost there. I've got the constant on the right, and a lot of you like to get the variable on the left, which means this one's good. This one stays here, but this m needs to move over. Now, how do I move over a negative 32m? Well, I make a positive one and add it instead. Do the opposite when you're going across. So what is a negative 7 and a positive 32? 25m, I believe, and then these cancel out to 0, and then I bring down the 25 that's over here. Now your very last step, you're trying to isolate this m, so how do I get it by itself? Well, I divide off the 25. And so my answer to this problem is 25 over 25, which is 1. So that should help you with something in the first section. So do not watch the rest of this video until you're ready for lesson 2, and then come back to about the 4.5-minute mark, 5-minute mark, and you can do something from 13 to 24. Okay, So if you are back, then it means you've already tried some of the 1 through 12 and you're ready for the next section. So this is going to be similar to what we just did. It's just that there's fractions, and yes, I know that you hate fractions, but they're not as horrible as you think. So let's just take a random problem on here and we're going to work it out. Let me go with, gosh, I don't know, how about something like 21? So I'm going to work on 21. I'm going to talk through some of the basics a little faster now that you've had practice above. So really this is going to be more about now what do we do when we have fractions. Cool. Okay, so there's actually, several approaches that you can take with this problem, and your teacher may show you something a little different. I'm all about getting rid of my fractions. Like, I hate fractions, okay? So what I would probably do is I will go ahead and distribute first, okay? Because I told you in the last section that really is important. So let's distribute first, then we can figure out how to get rid of all these fractions, okay? So here we have negative 18 over 5 times 13 over 4. Well, feel free to pick up your handy-dandy calculator and figure that out. It's going to be, I don't know. Let me figure this out. Hold on a second. Okay, so negative 18 over 5 times 13 over 4 turns into 117 over 10, okay? So that's something, like I said, you could do in the calculator. And then we need to do the negative 18 times the negative 4 over 3. Now, a negative times a negative, this will be positive, but we've got to figure out like what the answer is actually going to be. So it's going to be, I'm going to you could do it in the calculator. I'm going to do it real quick by reducing. That would be a 1 and a 6. It's going to be a 24 over 5. Okay, and like I said, type it in the calculator if you need to. I think you do get them in Algebra 2. And then I'm going to recopy this side. Cool. Now, what makes a fraction problem different? We still started this the same as the last section, but what makes it different is there are denominators everywhere, and you probably hate the denominators, and so do I. So here's what I do. I look across at all my denominators, and I just kind of look at all the numbers, and what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for something they have in common. It used to be called, when you were younger, the least common multiple. So is there a number that all three of these go into? Well, the answer is yes. All three of these go into the number 10, right? So what I'm going to do as my next step is multiply every single term, all four of these, by 10. And it's important that you have distributed first, otherwise that will be, it could be weird and wrong the way you do it, okay? So please distribute first, then look for that common denominator or least common multiple, and then we're going to multiply everybody by it. Now, the reason that you do that, guys, is because this is like a 10 over 1. So as you're distributing this 10 to all four of these numbers, it's going to get rid of your denominator, okay? So for instance, like 10 over 1 times negative 117 over 10, the 10s are going to cancel right there, and it's just going to leave negative 117 over m. If you don't believe me, type it into the calculator, and you will see those 10s reduce, and it just gets rid of the fraction altogether. Now, I still have to do this 10 over 1 times the next one, okay? So it's going to be 10 over 1 times 24 over 5. And what happens here is this 5 is gone, and it reduces this 10 to a 2, and so I'm just doing 2 times 24, which is 48. So if you need to see it all written out to the side, I just did 10 times 1 times 24 over 5, and then I reduced. You know, y'all know how to reduce fractions. This 5 goes into itself once, 10 goes into it, or 5 goes into 10 twice, and then you just do top times top, bottom times bottom. Or use a calculator if you want to ignore all my fraction talk, okay? I'm going to bring down the 25, but I am multiplying that 25 times what? Times 10 over 1. So it is now a 250. And then I'm going to do the 10 over 1 times the last term, which is a negative 8 over 5m. So when I do that, same thing, 5 goes into itself once, 5 goes into 10 twice. Top times top is a negative 16m, and the bottom is just a 1. So by multiplying, like this step in red is critical to make your life easy. Or not, it's not easy by any means, but easier than if you didn't. And now it looks like stuff from this section up here. So what do we do next? Well, we do what we did above. I'm going to add 16 to both, or actually, it doesn't matter which order. Let me go ahead and subtract 48 from both sides. I'll bring this down. That's now a 0. 250 minus 48, I believe that's a 202. And I recopy the minus 16m. Now I want all my m's over here, so let me add 16m to both sides. And I'm going to get negative 111m equals 202. And my last step would be to divide by the negative 111. And that doesn't look like a pretty answer. Okay, so 202 over 111, I don't even think it reduces. I don't know. That would be my answer. I don't think it reduces. If you type it in the calculator and it says it does, let me know. Okay, but that's how you would do that problem. Isn't that fun? You know what? I did this wrong. Haha. That's why it didn't work. This should be a 101. That's why a calculator is good sometimes. Sorry guys, negative 117 plus 16 is a negative 101. I made a mistake. So when you divide by the negative 101, it does go into it evenly, and your answer is negative 2. So sorry if you're watching this video. I really can do math. Okay, now we're going to jump to, actually, am I going to do the other problems right now? I'm actually not. This is just going to be it for today, is lessons 1 and 2. And you can try all those problems, and I'll send out another one for 3 and 4 later this week. Thank you.